The Nkosi family was the heart of their small village in Eastern Africa. Mama Juma and Baba Juma were known for their kindness, hard work, and infectious laughter that seemed to pass down to their one-year-old daughter, Amina. Amina was the apple of everyone's eye, with her chubby cheeks, wide curious eyes, and a giggle that could brighten anyone's day. The family's life revolved around love and togetherness, though their days were often busy. Mama and Baba Juma worked as farmers, growing fresh produce to sell in the neighboring town. They took pride in providing for their family, and their hard work earned them the respect of their community. One sunny morning, Mama Juma packed a basket of ripe tomatoes and greens. "We'll sell this quickly today," she said with a smile. Baba Juma nodded, ready to set out. But as they prepared to leave, a familiar challenge arose: who would care for baby Amina? Their answer came in the form of Uncle Bahati, Mama Juma's younger brother. He was often around the house and seemed eager to help. "I'll watch over her," Bahati said, holding out his arms for Amina. The couple felt grateful and reassured. "Amina loves you," Mama Juma said as she handed her over. "Keep her safe." Bahati nodded solemnly, cradling the baby as her parents walked away. Little did they know, this decision would unravel their world in ways they could never imagine. The village was peaceful that day, as usual. Women worked in their gardens, men repaired tools, and children played under the shade of mango trees. It was the kind of day where nothing seemed out of place until it wasn't. A sudden, heart-wrenching cry shattered the stillness. It was the kind of sound that made everyone pause. It came from the Nkosi home, and it was unmistakably Amina. Mama Kebibi, the neighbor closest to the Nkosi family, froze as she heard the piercing cries. Her hands trembled as she dropped the basket of maize she was holding. "That's Amina," she whispered, her voice filled with dread. The sound drew more neighbors to the Nkosi house. Men and women gathered outside, uncertain of what was happening but sure that something was wrong. The cries only grew louder, filled with terror and pain. Finally, unable to wait any longer, Mama Kebibi stepped forward. "I'm going in," she declared. Others followed closely behind. What they saw inside made their blood run cold. Uncle Bahati was standing over Amina, his face twisted with anger. He was shouting at her, his voice filled with rage. Amina, barely able to stand, cowered in fear. Her tiny face was red with tears, and her soft cheek bore the mark of a slap. "Bahati!" Mama Kebibi's voice ran out like thunder. He froze, startled by their presence. The villagers rushed forward, pulling Amina away from him. The room fell silent except for the baby's sobs. "What have you done?" one villager asked, his voice trembling with a mix of anger and disbelief. Bahati looked down, unable to meet their eyes. Mama Kebibi held Amina tightly, rocking her back and forth as the baby's sobs slowly subsided. The room was filled with an overwhelming tension. Uncle Bahati, the man they had trusted, stood silent, his face pale and his hands trembling. One of the younger men, Mwenda, stepped forward. "Bahati, you must answer for this," he said sternly. "How could you harm a child, your own niece?" Bahati stammered, "I didn't mean to." She wouldn't stop crying, and I lost control. His words were met with gasps and murmurs of disbelief. Mama Kebibi's eyes burned with anger. "Lost control? She's a baby. She doesn't know any better. And you think this is how you handle it?" Someone had already called the local authorities, and within minutes, a village officer arrived. Bahati was taken into custody, his head hung low. The villagers watched as he was led away, their hearts heavy with a mix of anger and sorrow. The sight of Amina's still strict face broke their hearts. "She's safe now," Mama Kebibi whispered, but the damage was done. Amina clung to her, refusing to let go. When Mama and Baba Juma returned home later that afternoon, they were greeted by an unusual silence. The usual chatter and laughter of their neighbors had been replaced by somber faces and whispers. As they approached their house, they noticed a crowd gathered outside. "What's going on?" Baba Juma asked, his voice filled with concern. Mama Kebibi stepped forward, holding Amina in her arms. Her voice trembled as she recounted what had happened. With every word, Mama and Baba Juma's hearts sank deeper into despair. "No. It can't be," Mama Juma whispered, tears streaming down her face. She reached for Amina, holding her tightly against her chest. "My baby. My precious baby." Baba Juma clenched his fist, his jaw tightening. "We trusted him," he said, his voice filled with pain and anger. "He was family." The villagers tried to comfort them, but the betrayal cut too deep. The Nkosi family had always believed in the strength of family bonds. Now, that trust lay shattered. In the days following the incident, the Nkosi household felt like a shadow of its former self. Amina's once bright laughter was replaced by a quiet unease. She clung to her mother constantly, refusing to leave her arms, even for a moment. Mama Juma tried her best to soothe her. She sang lullabies, gently stroked her hair, and whispered words of comfort, but Amina's wide eyes still held fear. Every loud sound made her flinch. Baba Juma, usually a pillar of strength, sat silently, staring at the ground for hours. The villagers were supportive, bringing food, offering prayers, and checking in on the family. Yet, no amount of kindness could erase the pain of betrayal. Mama Juma confided in Mama Kebibi one evening. "How could someone we trusted so deeply do this to us?" she asked, her voice breaking. "It's a question we all ask," Mama Kebibi said softly. "But the important thing is Amina is safe now. She has you, and she will heal. But you must stay strong for her." Despite the reassurances, Amina's parents knew the journey ahead would be long. The physical marks on her skin faded quickly, but the emotional scars lingered. The Nkosi family began to realize that healing wasn't just about their daughter, it was about rebuilding their faith in people and in themselves. The day of Uncle Bahati's trial arrived, drawing the entire village to the small courthouse. The news of his actions had spread far beyond their community, and everyone was eager to see justice served. Mama Juma and Baba Juma sat in the front row, their faces solemn. They refused to look at Bahati as he was brought in, shackled and escorted by guards. The once confident man now looked broken, his shoulders hunched and his eyes filled with shame. The prosecutor laid out the case with chilling detail, describing Bahati's abuse and the community's intervention. Witnesses, including Mama Kebibi, testified about what they had seen and heard. Bahati's defense was weak. He admitted to his actions but claimed it was a moment of losing control. The judge listened carefully before delivering a stern verdict. Bahati was sentenced to several years in prison and was ordered to undergo counseling. "Your actions have shattered a family and a community," the judge said. "This punishment is meant to ensure you reflect on the gravity of your crime." As Bahati was led away, the Nkosi family felt a mix of emotions. Justice had been served, but the pain lingered. Baba Juma turned to Mama Juma and said, "This chapter is closed, but the healing has just begun." After the trial, the village came together like never before. The incident had shaken everyone, making them question how such an atrocity could happen so close to home. Village elders organized a meeting to address the issue. "We must protect our children," Elder Baraka said, his voice filled with conviction. "We can't let this happen again." The villagers agreed to implement new measures. They decided to create a childcare committee, a group of trusted individuals who could step in when parents needed help. They also emphasized teaching children about safety and encouraging open communication. Mama Juma spoke at the meeting, her voice strong despite her tears. "We thought our family bond was unbreakable. But this has taught us that trust must be earned, not assumed. Let us all learn from this." The village resolved to support one another more closely, ensuring every child grew up in a safe and nurturing environment. Though the scars of the past remained, the Nkosi family found solace in the unity of their community. Amina was too young to understand everything that had happened, but she felt the love and care surrounding her. Her parents worked tirelessly to rebuild her sense of security. They showered her with affection, played with her, and celebrated every small milestone. One evening, as the family sat outside under the stars, Amina took her first steps. It was a moment of triumph, a reminder that life could still hold joy despite the pain. Mama Juma wept as she scooped her daughter into her arms. "You're so strong, my little one," she whispered. "Stronger than we could ever be." Though Amina's journey was far from over, her resilience inspired her parents to keep moving forward. They vowed to create a future where she would always feel safe and loved. Baba Juma was a man of action, and he couldn't sit idly while his family bore the weight of the trauma. Determined to protect his daughter and ensure no other child in the village experienced such pain, he took the lead in organizing safety workshops. The first workshop was held under the ancient baobab tree, a place where the villagers often gathered for important meetings. Baba Juma stood before the crowd, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "We trusted, and we were betrayed," he began. "But we cannot let that betrayal define us. We must learn from it and grow stronger." He invited a social worker from the nearest town to educate parents on recognizing signs of abuse and creating a safe environment for their children. The social worker emphasized the importance of listening to children, believing them, and acting swiftly if something felt wrong. Even within families, trust must not be blind, the social worker said. Always prioritize the child's well-being. Baba Juma shared his own heartbreak, recounting how they had trusted Bahati without question. "We never thought twice," he admitted. "But now, I know it's our duty as parents to be vigilant, to question, and to protect." The session ended with a commitment from every parent to watch over all the village children as if they were their own. Baba Juma felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing his pain was being transformed into a force for good. Mama Juma had always been the emotional anchor of the family, but this incident had shaken her deeply. For days, she struggled with guilt, blaming herself for leaving Amina in Bahati's care. One afternoon, as she sat by the river washing clothes, Mama Kebibi joined her. "You can't carry this guilt alone," Kebibi said gently. "You didn't do anything wrong." Mama Juma sighed, her hands gripping the wet fabric. "But I should have known," she said. "A mother is supposed to protect her child." "Being a mother doesn't mean you're all-knowing," Mama Kebibi replied. "It means you do your best, and you're doing that now. Amina feels your love every day." That's what matters. Encouraged by her friend's words, Mama Juma decided to focus her energy on Amina's healing. She began spending more time with her daughter, creating a routine filled with comforting activities. They would sing songs, draw pictures in the dirt, and take long walks through the village fields. One evening, as they sat under the stars, Mama Juma held Amina close and whispered, "No matter what, I'll always be here for you. You're my greatest blessing." With each passing day, Mama Juma's strength grew, and she realized that love and resilience were the greatest gifts she could offer her daughter. News of Amina's ordeal had spread far beyond the village, sparking conversations in neighboring communities. Other families began to reflect on their own childcare practices, questioning long-held assumptions about trust within families. A neighboring village elder, Mama Tandao, visited the Nkosi family to express her solidarity. "Your pain has become a lesson for us all," she said. "We've started having similar meetings in our village to ensure every child is protected." Mama Juma and Baba Juma felt a bittersweet pride in knowing their story was making a difference. They began traveling to nearby villages to share their experience, hoping to inspire others to take proactive steps for their children's safety. During one of these visits, a young mother approached Mama Juma. "Your courage gives me hope," she said. "I've always been afraid to speak up, but now I know it's possible to make a change." The Nkosi family's journey was becoming more than just a story of survival, it was a movement. Their pain was being transformed into power, creating ripples that extended far beyond their small village. Months after the incident, Amina's healing journey reached a pivotal moment. She had grown quieter since the ordeal, but one sunny morning, as Mama Juma played a familiar game of peekaboo with her, Amina did something that brought tears to her mother's eyes. She smiled. It was small at first, a hesitant curve of her lips, but it quickly grew into a full, joyous laugh. Mama Juma scooped her up, twirling her around. "There you are, my little sunshine," she said, her voice thick with emotion. The sound of Amina's laughter echoed through the house, drawing Baba Juma into the room. Seeing his daughter smile, he felt a weight lift from his heart. "Our Amina is back," he whispered, holding both of them close. The moment was a turning point for the family. It reminded them that healing was possible even in the wake of unimaginable pain. Amina's smile became a symbol of hope, not just for her parents, but for the entire community. As Amina's laughter returned, the village decided to celebrate a new beginning with a festival. The elders called it the Festival of Hope, dedicated to the resilience of children and the strength of the community. Preparations were in full swing. Women wove colorful mats, men built a stage under the ancient baobab tree, and children practiced songs and dances. Mama Juma took charge of organizing a special activity, a storytelling session where villagers could share lessons and memories that inspired hope. On the day of the festival, the village was alive with vibrant colors and laughter. Families came together, their shared joy erasing the shadows of the past. Baba Juma opened the event with a heartfelt speech. "Today, we celebrate not only the innocence of our children but the strength we all have to protect them." Amina was the star of the event. Dressed in a bright yellow dress gifted by Mama Kebibi, she toddled around the festival grounds, her shy smile lighting up the crowd. Seeing her so carefree brought tears to her parents' eyes. As the sun set, the villagers lit lanterns and released them into the sky. Each lantern carried a wish for the children, a word of safety, happiness, and love. Watching the glowing lights drift upward, Mama Juma whispered, "This is for you, Amina." a future filled with light. Weeks after the festival, a letter arrived for the Nkosi family. It was from Bahati, written from prison. Mama Juma hesitated to open it, but Baba Juma insisted. "We need to hear what he has to say," he said. The letter was filled with regret. Bahati apologized repeatedly for his actions, admitting he had long struggled with anger and frustration. He revealed that he had sought counseling in prison and was beginning to confront his demons. "I don't expect forgiveness," he wrote, "but I hope you can find peace knowing I am trying to change." Mama Juma's hands trembled as she read. "Can we ever forgive him?" she asked. Baba Juma sighed. "Forgiveness isn't about him. It's about us. It's about letting go so we can move forward." The letter stirred mixed emotions. While they were not ready to forgive, it brought a strange sense of closure. Bahati's words reminded them that healing was a journey, not just for Amina but for everyone involved. As Amina grew older, her parents realized the importance of teaching her about strength and resilience. Though she wouldn't remember the incident, they knew its impact could shape her future. Mama Juma began telling her stories of brave girls who overcame challenges. "You're like them, my little warrior," she would say, kissing Amina's forehead. "No matter what happens, you have the strength to rise." Baba Juma taught Amina practical lessons about trust and boundaries. "Not everyone who smiles at you has a kind heart," he explained gently. "But that's why you have us, to protect you and teach you to protect yourself." Amina soaked up their lessons, her bright eyes filled with curiosity and understanding. Though she was still young, her parents could see the seeds of courage taking root within her. One day, as they walked through the village, a neighbor complimented Amina's cheerful spirit. "She's strong, like her parents," they said. Mama Juma smiled, holding Amina close. "She's stronger than we ever were," she replied. The Nkosi family's ordeal had left a permanent mark on the village. Safety and protection became top priorities, and the villagers worked together to implement new measures to safeguard their children. One of the most significant changes was the formation of a child safety committee. This group included parents, elders, and even some of the youth. They created a watch system, ensuring no child was left unattended in potentially unsafe situations. They also established a safe house, where parents could leave their children under trusted supervision if they needed help. Mama Juma and Baba Juma were actively involved, sharing their story in meetings and workshops. Their transparency inspired others to speak up about concerns they had been too afraid to voice before. The village school also introduced a program teaching children how to recognize unsafe situations and seek help. "Your voice is your power," the teacher would say, encouraging children to speak out if something felt wrong. As the weeks turned into months, the village began to feel like a safer place. The pain of what had happened to Amina was not forgotten, but it had sparked a transformation. "It's amazing," Mama Kibibi said one day to Mama Juma. "What started as a tragedy has brought us closer and made us stronger." Mama Juma nodded, her heart swelling with hope. "It's what Amina deserves, a safe, loving community where she can thrive." At 3 years old, Amina was a curious and lively child. She loved asking questions about everything around her, and her parents encouraged her inquisitive nature. One afternoon, she tugged on Mama Juma's dress and asked, "Mama, why does everyone hug me so much?" Mama Juma chuckled, kneeling to her daughter's level. "Because you're special, my little one. You remind us all how precious life is." Amina tilted her head, thinking. Was I always special? She asked. Baba Juma, who had been listening nearby, joined them. You've always been special, he said. But you've also made us braver, stronger, and kinder. Though Amina didn't fully understand their words, she felt the warmth of their love. Her parents made sure she knew she was cherished and safe, always answering her questions with honesty and care. Her growing curiosity led her to make friends easily, and soon she became a beloved figure in the village. Children gravitated toward her cheerful energy, and adults admired her bright spirit. Watching her thrive, Mama Juma and Baba Juma felt a deep sense of gratitude. Despite the pain they had endured, Amina was a beacon of light, reminding them that healing and happiness were always possible. One day, a visitor arrived in the village, a counselor from a neighboring town who had heard of the Nkosi family story. She came to meet Baba Juma and Mama Juma, offering support and a deeper understanding of trauma and recovery. Her name was Zawadi, and she had a calm, soothing presence. Sitting with the Nkosi family under the baobab tree, she shared stories of other families who had faced similar challenges and offered guidance on building resilience. Children are incredibly strong, Zawadi explained, smiling at Amina, who was playing nearby. But they also need the right environment to heal and grow. You're already giving her that by surrounding her with love and security. Zawadi also spoke to the villagers during her visit, emphasizing the importance of breaking cycles of harm. Many times, those who hurt others were hurt themselves, she said. But that does not excuse their actions. It simply means we need to address the root causes and provide help where it's needed. The villagers listened intently, gaining new perspectives on healing as a community. Before leaving, Zawadi gave the Nkosi family a small journal. Write your thoughts, your fears, your hopes, she said. It can help you process everything and focus on the future. Her visit left a profound impact, giving the Nkosi family new tools to navigate their journey and deepening the community's commitment to safety and understanding. Months after receiving Bahati's letter, the Nkosi family continued to reflect on the idea of forgiveness. Mama Juma and Baba Juma often discussed it late into the night, trying to find a balance between letting go of anger and protecting their family. One evening, Baba Juma spoke candidly. Forgiving Bahati doesn't mean we forget what he did. It doesn't mean we trust him again. It just means we release the power his actions have over us. Mama Juma nodded thoughtfully. Maybe forgiveness is about freeing ourselves, not absolving him. They decided to respond to Bahati's letter. In their reply, they expressed their pain and disappointment but also acknowledged his efforts to change. We hope you continue to work on yourself and find a better path, they wrote. But for now, we must focus on healing our family. When the letter was sent, both parents felt a sense of relief. It was a step toward closure, allowing them to move forward without being weighed down by bitterness. Amina, blissfully unaware of these struggles, continued to grow into a joyful and curious child. Her parents' decision to forgive from a distance ensured she could thrive in an environment free of anger and fear. Years passed, and Amina grew into a spirited and compassionate young girl. Her laughter once again filled the Nkosi home, and her bright smile was a constant reminder of the family's strength and love. The village, too, had transformed. The child safety programs were a permanent fixture, and the community remained vigilant in protecting its youngest members. The Nkosi family's story had become a symbol of resilience, inspiring others to prioritize the safety and well-being of their children. One afternoon, As Amina prepared for her first day of school, Mama Juma and Baba Juma watched her with pride. "She's a miracle," Baba Juma said, his voice filled with emotion. Mama Juma nodded. "She's a miracle. And she's proof that even in the darkest moments, there's always hope." As Amina walked toward the village school, her yellow dress fluttering in the breeze, she carried with her not just her parents' love but the strength of an entire community. She was the light that had guided them through the storm, and now, she was ready to shine in the world. The Nkosi family's journey wasn't just a story of survival, it was a testament to the power of love, resilience, and the unwavering spirit of a united community.